this video, I'm going to talk about List Slicer within Power BI Desktop. So I have opened Microsoft Power BI Desktop and I'm in November 2024 version. So for this version, List Slicer, if you want to enable List Slicer, what you can do, go to File, go to Options and Settings, go to Options, and under Preview, you will be able to see List Slicer. So if I go to Preview Features over here, you'll be able to see List Slicer visual. Now, once you turn this on and restart your Power BI desktop, you should be able to see the List Slicer visual. Now, where is the list slicer? So if you see over here, this is the list slicer icon. So you just click on list slicer. So what I'm going to do, I'll click on list slicer. So I've just selected the visuals. I'll do a control and I'll just click on uh, the plain canvas area over here. Click on list slicer and then this will come up with this list slicer. So let's make some room for list slicer. I'll take this visual. So this visual is basically sum of sales amount by date and showing the forecasting. Now, this is a list slicer. So what I can do is I can drag and drop the field in the list slicer if I want to filter out by, say, any parameter. So if I want to see the filtering by color, so I'll just drag and drop color and it will list down all the colors over here. So this is how the list slicer will look like. Now I can expand this list slicer. So if I click on blue, the visual will filter out by blue. It will show me the sum of sales amount by date. And similarly, gray, multi, not applicable, red, silver. And if I want to multi-select, I'll just hold down control and then I can select multiple options over here. If I click over here, I can clear the selection, and there are other options which are stock standard, which are available as a part of list filtering. Now, if you want to make it look pretty over here, what you can do a lot of formatting options. So this is my list slicer. I can come over here and here, if I click on format your visual, slicer settings, under slicer settings, I have an option to do a single select or force selection or show select all. So if I select show select all, you will see the show select all button. So that means it will show all the items. If I deselect it all and if I just want to see blue or black, so it will just select blue or black, right? So this is how it will filter out. So you just need to press control and then you select multiple options, right? Coming back to shape, shape is a rectangle. So as you see over here, it is a rectangle shape. I can make it rounded rectangle. So as you see over here, it has become rounded rectangle, something like a tablet. So I can play around with the rounded corners. I can make it a bit nice, just put 10 pixels, and this is how this will look like. I have further option to customize the size. I can adjust the top right corner, bottom left corner, and make it in a different style. So as you see over here, I've just played around with the bottom left corner. So if I play around with the top right corner, you will see some different shape over here, right? So those way, like with this, we can play around with the shape. Now I will have another option for snip tap both top. So if I select this, it will look something like this. Okay, so if you just minimize this, this is snip tap. Okay, this is a snip tap option. Now you just need to play around with the UI to make it look pretty. So I'll just pick on rounded rectangle, and this is how the, so I'll just select rectangle and then rounded rectangle, and rounded rectangle. I just need to put some value over here. So I'll just put 10 pixels, 10, and then 10, and then 10. And this is how the rounded rectangle will look like. Okay, so that's about shape. Going to the layout. How many buttons you want to show? So here the button shown is hard coded to 8. I can make it, I just want to show 3 button or 5 button or 6 button. So I'll just say, I'll just put some number 6. Okay, so you can see over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then scroll bar will appear. So if I just even scroll, it will just show me 6 items. Okay, but this is not a nice option. So if I want to show all the options, so let me put 20, then it will show all the options over here. Okay, so as you see over here, it has shown me all the options. Coming back to layout, I can just type in just a 10 number over here. And what is the space between the buttons? So I can adjust the space, I can adjust the indentation, And what about overflow? So overflow is now continuous scroll. But what if I want something else? I want paginated. So if I select paginated, as you see over here, the navigation bar appear, right? So this is the navigation icon. So because we have selected paginated, if we do not want a scroll bar. So if you want a scroll bar, just click on continuous scroll. And as you see over here, continuous scroll appears. So that's about layout. Call out values. You can apply settings to the state for hover, press, selected, mixed. I'm not going to go in for that, but this is like a stock standard setting which I have labeled for the list slicer. Then we have this selection icon. So I've turned this selection icon. If I turn it off, as you see over here, the selection icon disappears. So if you do not want that radio button kind of a look, you can turn off that selection icon, right? Then we have buttons. So again, apply settings to state. You can set the padding. You can put a border around it. So as you see over here, it has come up with a border. You can play around with the border. You can fill the value, fill with some color. So if you see over here, I'll just put blue. So you can make it, set the transparency. You can play around with the color uh, by setting up some value. You can also set up some shadows. As you see over here, I've set up some shadow. I can even set some glow. And I have an option to set an accent bar. So depending on your status, red, green, yellow, you can set up those accent bar, and you can set various colors. So here I've just put color as hard coded as orange. Width is 2 pixel, but then if you increase the width, see what happens. So this is how the list settings slicer will look like. Now under general, you have an option to set the property, which is stock standard height, width. You can lock the aspect ratio, uh, and you can even turn on and off the title. So as you see over here, this color title disappears. If I select this, then you have an option to effect. Now see this, if I'm just putting on top of this visual, okay? Now if I go over here, if I see this background as on, if I turn off this background, that becomes transparent, right? So you have an option to play around with that. So that's about background option. You can set the transparency. You can set a visual border. So as you see over here, I've set a visual border, and this is how it will look. I can even set up a shadow. So this is for the entire visual altogether. And you have an option to set up hider icons. And if I now hover over here, it is not showing me a tooltip, right? So if I just turn this on, tooltips, it will show me the tooltip value as well. And you can set up the tooltip value depending on your requirement. So you can set those tooltip value from here. So if I hover the color, then I can put, say, tooltip as something else. Let me put first of model. It doesn't make sense, but I'm just putting some value over here, right? So if you hover, it will just show me a different tooltip, right? So this is how you basically use the list visual. List visual is basically a much more improvement over the stock standard visual, which were available as a part of Power BI Desktop. So please go and play around with the list visual, and let me know if you find any other additional interesting feature in the comments below. Thanks for watching.